Mark from South Carolina, thank you for waiting for almost an hour, Mark. We really appreciate that. Your comment here is my supernatural hijinks and 3 near-death experiences. So,
hey, sounds like fun.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, let's see. My sort of religious quest started about 5 years ago. I heard a story on NPR about near-death experiences and how much you can actually know about life after death and all that. And that piqued my interest. So I've been studying it ever since. But I do have personal experiences with ESP. I had a job in public radio, public television, and I heard a bunch of people coming down the hall, so I went to my door and looked out, and there was a psychic who had a bunch of people following her, and she looked at me and she gave me a free reading. She said, "Oh, you are creative." She said, "You're very creative." She said, "They don't understand you around here." And I thought, well, this woman is psychic. And she told me a few other things that nobody else knew. A friend of mine was having trouble with his brother. And so he asked me to take her back, him backstage before her appearance. She was doing a 90-minute call-in show. And he just said 5 words to her. He said, "A word about my brother." And she said, "Oh, yes. He just wrecked his car. It was two-tone blue and green. He'll be getting a new one soon and doing much better." Now, he didn't even say that it was a car wreck. It could have been a dental problem. It could have been anything. And the two-tone, she just pulled that out of the air. So,
okay.
And,
have you ever heard of cold reading before? Are you familiar with it?
Yes, I sure have.
I don't know if you've ever heard of Derren Brown before, but he does really good like cold reading stuff. He is nearly indistinguishable from a psychic, but he's an atheist and is very clear. Like he's just doing tricks. It's a skill that is learned. Knowing that, does that change how you feel about, the fact that somebody did a cold reading thing on you?
No, I've been down that road. And this was not a cold reading. I mean, how could it be?
Reading, right? It just wasn't like you believe that the cold reading was supernatural, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And I saw her during
Mark,
I saw her do a 90-minute.
Mark, just to really drive home what Owen was trying to tell you there, right? So, do you think there are people that are subjected to cold reading, but they're convinced that it was actually a psychic? Like, do you think cold reading has tricked people?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Okay. How do you know that's not happening to you here?
Well, she had nothing to go on. She hadn't a clue.
Had nothing.
She did not have a clue.
Do you not think that a cold reader can look at you and maybe pick up details about certain aspects? Like they can look at your age, they can look at your clothes, they can look at your health. They can look at perhaps you have a wedding ring on your finger or not. They can perhaps see what's in your pockets. Like, do you have a pen sticking out of your pocket? Do you have like a portfolio? Do you have there's you just being there. You are screaming so many details about yourself that somebody else can look at and pick up on. Like, how do you know that you're just, how did you know you just weren't, well,
how do I get from
for lack of a better term, how do you know you weren't just a target or a victim of a cold reader?
It's just absurd.
Why?
Not absurd. You just admitted earlier that you just admitted earlier that cold readers can fool people. How do you know you weren't fooled?
Yes, because of this instance. Now, how do you get from a ring and all that stuff to my brother just wrecked his car and it was two-tone and what the colors were? No, just no.
Okay. You know that
let's move on.
I'm gonna go back to Derren Brown for just a second because he's like a really good example. You know that he's walked up to random people on the street and he has guessed their profession.
Oh, I've seen him. Yeah.
Right? How is what you're describing more nuanced or different in any way than what he does? You're saying that that the brother got in a car accident and they could have had no way of knowing that. Well, Derren Brown has guessed equally as esoteric or unusual things about people, how do you know when he tells us it's not supernatural that this person is supernatural when they're doing the exact same thing?
Well, he does certain things that doesn't he have to. I've seen him work. He's brilliant. Doesn't he have to touch people?
No.
And have a sort
Derren
of
Brown?
verbal.
I mean, I think Derren Brown has different ways, and maybe he seeds the audience. Like, who knows? I don't know, but it's nearly indistinguishable. It is indistinguishable from supernatural cold reading. So, how do we know if somebody is doing it supernaturally or just really good at hiding it?
Well, if you you can claim that. I just don't believe it. It's just
The thing
too
is,
incredible.
I'm not claiming anything. I'm not claiming anything.
Okay, well,
You're telling me you think it was supernatural. I'm telling you we have natural explanations. We don't need a supernatural explanation.
Okay, well, let's see. Somebody can make a real diamond. That doesn't mean that anybody who gives them a diamond that diamond was also homemade.
So you're saying just because we know how the cold reading trick works doesn't mean that some of them are not supernatural. I guess that's true, but I
Correct.
don't have any reason to think that it's supernatural because it's easily done naturally. So what reason do you have
let me give you
for thinking that it was supernatural?
Yeah.
I have 90 minutes of reasons. I saw her do call-ins, telephone calls from all over the state. This could not be plants. One woman called up and she said, I'm going on a trip tomorrow. And the psychic said, oh, yes, you're going to Stuttgart. Now, cold reading? I think not. This woman just knew it.
I'm not sure why it couldn't be cold reading. You know what? I think that we've talked to you before. Have we talked to you before?
Yes. Yes.
I thought so. Yes. And I remember you showing this video of a cold reading trick that was very clearly just like a trick. That one was just not supernatural at all. I don't know.
The with Forrest.
I don't know if the cold reading to which
with Anderson Cooper
was actual cold reading. I don't know, but the one that you showed me before was definitely just a trick. And I've just never seen one that was not a trick, and I have no reason to think that there is a supernatural one. I don't know.
Well,
yeah. So what's
Mark? How did you know about Stuttgart?
So Mark,
everything is everything is cold reading to you.
Mark, for a moment, put yourself
illogical.
Mark. For just a moment, do your best to put yourselves in our shoes. Okay, you're talking to a person who's bringing these very out there claims to us and claiming that it's supernatural behind it.
Yes.
Like let's say we're betting. Let's say I have to bet money on this. I have to bet money that it's a supernatural event, or it was just a cold reader fooled you, or cold reader fooled your friend, because this is now like an anecdote territory where you're telling us what happened to somebody else.
Right.
Where should I put my money? If I want to make money off of this, or I don't want to lose money, where should I put my money? On the supernatural or on a cold reader fooled somebody?
You should put it with logic.
Okay. That wasn't the two choices I gave you, but I kind of agree with that statement. So what would logic tell me where should I put that money? That something supernatural happened, or somebody tricked somebody else?
The stranger would not know they just wrecked his car and what color it was.
What's more, Mark? So hold on, Mark. Address the question. What's more plausible? A human fooled another human, or something supernatural occurred?
Well, they both could happen.
What's more plausible?
Depends on the circumstances. Let me continue just a minute.
I'll even grant you, for just this one question, I'll even grant you the supernatural is possible. What's more plausible?
Okay, well, let me extend this. She also told me that she said, oh, you have dark rings around the irises of your eyes. People like that are often have ESP. And I just sort of thought, well, maybe.
Mark,
but I did keep an eye on it.
Do you think you've been tricked by other people before?
No.
Okay. Did you know that you were you later came to realize you were tricked by some people, right? But you didn't know it in the moment, right?
Not about this kind of thing.
Okay. So Mark, for a moment, pretend that you were tricked. How could you figure that out?
Well, by logic, why? Just
Okay,
go
walk
with
me
me
through it.
and let me get to
No,
the next point.
we don't want more stories of this kind of stuff. We want to know what your process. So, Mark, we don't. So Mark, we'll be straightforward with you here, okay? You're listing 3 NDEs here. We haven't even touched yet. We're not going to go into that because we don't have time. But this one story, I'm asking you, if you were wrong about it, how would you know? Like,
sorry, I'm having a little coffee, Chris.
No worries. But
yeah,
you understand our hangups here. Mark. You understand why this is just not good evidence for us, right, Mark? You at least understand that.
Well, she told me that let me just go on to the next event, and then you can double back if you want to.
I'm sorry, Mark. No, sorry. I'm not going to let you go on to the next event. I just told you we don't have time for all that.
Okay.
We're talking about what you've already...
Well, then there's no use in talking to you.
We're talking
there's
about...
no use in talking to you.
Mark, there is, if you simply hear me out for a moment here. We want to know what your process is for determining whether you were fooled or not for this one event you've already presented us. Giving us more events, doesn't it all address that question? And doesn't it all shore up these claims? For all I know, Mark, is you are a really gullible guy, because there are lots of really gullible people on the planet. So I'm asking you, how do you get me past that position? How do you get me to a position of, well, maybe Mark's onto something here? Is there anything you can give me other than more stories?
No, not you. Your mind is
Not
closed.
Me.
It's locked closed.
Okay, so you're saying that our minds are closed?
Previous. Yes.
Right, our minds are closed. Okay, well, let me ask you this. Do you think if... I'm trying to think of a really good example. Let's say, hypothetically, somebody really high up in government that you don't trust, like, let's say Hillary Clinton came out and said...
Let's not go that far. Let's just go to Forrest in that previous situation about...
hang on. All right, hang on. Say Hillary Clinton came out and said
about
that
Anderson
Jesus
Cooper.
returned. She says Jesus returned and he came to her house and she had the responsibility of announcing it.
Oh, geez. I'm not going there. This is hypothetical.
Just bear with me, please.
It's a waste of time.
Is it reasonable?
Listen, I have a vote in this. It's my quarter.
All right, hang on. Look, I'm going to mute you just for a second. What I'm asking is, do you think it's reasonable for us to check if Hillary Clinton comes out and she says, Jesus came back to my house and he told me I have to introduce the world to Jesus or whatever. Do you think it's reasonable for us to check, to verify? I suppose it's possible, right? I think that everybody should verify and check everything. And what you're telling me is extraordinary. You're telling me that you call in and this person tells you like your name and your state and where you're going and your mom's maiden name and all of it without having said a word to you beforehand. That's extraordinary. I'm going to walk into that tentatively because I need evidence to believe extraordinary claims. I'm telling you, I've never seen anything to indicate that any tricks were supernatural. Everything I've seen indicates that they're natural. Okay, I'm unmuting you. Go ahead.
Well, you haven't seen everything. You were just totally close.
Show us. Show us. Give me some reason to believe it.
Okay. She said, we'll look for psychic events. And I looking, I found 4 of them.
You sent us that video previously. I watched that, and that was not an indication at all of a psychic event.
Yeah.
Are you gonna do other videos like that?
Yes, I do. And I didn't tell you, I've never told anybody this one. Well, some people, my friends. The first ones are not very impressive. I was leaving work late at night, and I just knew, it's knowing, it's not just maybe. Am I muted?
No.
I can't hear you.
No, you're here?
Yeah.
I haven't been given any reason to trust that you haven't been tricked in some way, and I know that you don't have any reason to think that you haven't been tricked in some way either. If no matter what the extraordinary insane thing is, I want to check. I want to verify. I don't care how confident I am. I am 99% confident in things because there's that 1% chance that I was incorrect. Right? Do you agree?
Yeah. Yeah.
So is there that 1% chance that maybe you were tricked by these?
Well, I've already thought these through, and I cannot find a possible way. Two cards? No.
How? Okay, so you are 100% correct. Sure that you're correct. If you are 99%, as I am about everything, how would you figure that out?
Well, I'm willing to change, but I find no reason to change. And you show me a reason to change, I'll change.
I think that we need a reason to believe the things that you're claiming because they're extraordinary. And so far, I know that these tricks are possible to do without supernatural means. So a non-supernatural explanation is the most likely. What is it?
That's meaningless. If somebody can do it as a trick, that's fine. That doesn't mean it every time it's a trick.
Why would we think that it's not a trick?
Why would you think that it is?
Okay, well, I simply disagree. Seems we're at an impasse now. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, let's steam forward. And I'll get to one that you really want to agree with. I was watching television. And
okay, Mark, I'm muting you, Mark. I already told you no more stories. Because, Mark, an anecdote, a story from somebody is very poor evidence for such a claim. Multiple anecdotes does not build up into good evidence. It's just multiple bad evidence. So, Mark, we're not going to entertain any more stories here. We want to know how you know this is actually the explanation rather than some other naturalistic explanation, something more plausible, that you were tricked or you have bad memories, or even from Owen and my point of view, that you're simply misstating what actually happened to us for whatever reason, whether it's a poor memory or you're lying. All kinds of possibilities that you have to overcome before you can even start to approach the supernatural. Now, if you want to increase the probability in our eyes that the supernatural is the actual case, you can give us a demonstration of the supernatural. You can say we could do this, this, and this. You can interact with the supernatural, like something like that. But if it's just another story, you're adding nothing to the table that you haven't already added. So, Mark, I'll go ahead and unmute you. You give us your final comment here. We're going to move on. But I hope you understand. I hope you understand, Mark, Mark, I hope you understand that lots of stories does not equal good evidence. You can have 1 million stories and it's not good evidence.
You're unmuted now. Oh, I think he dropped. I
think he left. Okay. I saw a comment in the chat like, "Hey, Eric, don't get too angry." I'm like, I'm not angry. I'm maybe a little hangry. I didn't eat anything today, so I might be a little grumpy.
Yeah,
but
that's why you got to bring these puppies right here.
Yeah.
Gotta love.
Yeah, maybe a Snickers bar. That'd be so good. I'm trying to get back onto a keto diet. So I like grabbed some Ritz crackers and I was like, no, this is going to keep my keto from taking off. So whatever, it's fine. But it's really hard to get people to understand, like, when you're hearing a story from somebody, and this is the major problem with the Bible. This is the major problem with claims of miraculous events or of faith healings, of all these things. If it is just a story, the listener of that story has a bunch of hurdles to overcome in order to accept that story, especially if that story is of something like extraordinary, like of a supernatural event or the interaction with a god or anything like that. Because if that person listening to that story really values truth and really values rejecting false claims or protecting themselves from believing things that are false, they have to think about, what's this person telling me? How do I know that they didn't have some type of psychological state that might have altered their perception of reality in a way that wasn't real? How do I know they're not lying to me? How do I know they're not misremembering? If they're telling me of a story that somebody else told them, now it's in hearsay territory. Now it's like, okay, how do I overcome the fact that this story has now gone through two people to get to me? What has happened to that story? What has the game of telephone done to that story? And on top of that, also all the things, all the factors in a situation that we don't know about. Mark could have been interacting with that cold reader, and that cold reader may have known who Mark was beforehand, maybe do some prior research. There's a great video of Peter Popoff and his wife. They're like having this big faith convention, and they have like people coming up onto the stage, and Peter Popoff is like basically bringing people up off the floor, and all of a sudden like stating facts about them. And turns out that his wife was on an earpiece and feeding him information about these people who had previously filled out applications to be there. So they had all the information on. Like, Mark doesn't know what kind of shenanigans are going on behind the scenes, and Mark is convinced that he does. And it's such a problem there, because if this is true, we need something better than this, Mark. We need something better than your stories and your credulity, because that's not enough for me to believe. It's not enough for Owen to believe. It's not enough for any of us here to believe. And I think Mark would appreciate that if a Muslim was coming to him with stories like this and attributing it to Allah, or if a Scientologist was coming here and attributing it to Xenu. I think that logical part of Mark's brain would flip on, and he would protect himself against those beliefs. Well, Mark, if you understand what's going on there, then you understand what's going on here. Hopefully you'll understand that.
Thanks for watching that clip. Hey, we're trying to do some data research about whether or not our callers successfully proved that God existed. If they didn't, don't forget to like and subscribe. That's how we know they failed. But if you don't like and subscribe, you're saying that they succeeded. So you're saying that by liking and subscribing, you will be affirming that you are an atheist. Hey, what else should they do?
I don't know. Maybe go to patreon.com/calltheline and donate some of their hard-earned money.
Like and subscribe.